Hello and welcome to the Sports Rapport. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, your host for this program that's all about the world of sports in Vermont and beyond. I'm on set with producer Nathaniel Wilson.
Hello, Vermont.
And camera operator David Littlefield. And we're joined by our awesome team in the control room, Mike Dunn, Kyle Ambus, Dave Rice, and Brian Stevenson. Nathaniel, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I want to know how your weekend was.
It was a pretty good one. It was an exciting sports weekend, not only here in Vermont, but in the U.S. and across the globe, I would say.
I mean, a lot going on. And I know you're a big basketball fan.
Yes.
You know, I'm a big basketball fan, too, especially of the Boston Celtics. I know you're a Miami Heat fan. So I have to ask you, did you see Jason Tatum make his comeback to the Boston Celtics after being out less than a year with an Achilles tendon tear?
Listen, I did not want to miss this. I think I saw on the broadcast it was 298 days since he tore his Achilles, which it's just a remarkable sports story.
Incredible.
So I think you know, as a basketball fan, any other NBA fans out there know, the game is on a lot of different cable television channels, streaming platforms.
Hard to keep track,
honestly.
Yeah.
And so the Celtics played on Friday on ESPN. They played on ABC on Sunday yesterday versus the Cavaliers. I bought like a one-day subscription thing so I could watch the Friday game. And then yesterday it was on ABC. I was like, how do I get ABC? I was looking online. I was on the Vermont Reddit even, and I saw people were like, rabbit ears, old-fashioned, antenna.
Old school.
Yes, and so I live in downtown Burlington. I walked to the Ace Hardware. I bought antennas don't look the same anymore. It wasn't a metal thing. It was just like a black box.
I was going to say.
I went home. I plugged it into the back of the TV. I scanned for channels, and I just didn't get any channels.
But the effort you made. You actually went down to the hardware store, got the thing.
To watch the Celtics.
I appreciate that very much. So did you try standing like on your tiptoes, maybe tilting to the side a little bit, trying anything?
I had it first behind the TV, and then I moved it like up high up into the window, but then our cats were checking it out. I was like, I'm not getting any channels anyways. It's time to just call it quits on
But you did see the Friday game where he actually made his actual return.
Yeah.
I mean, for a hot second, let's talk about that a little bit. Incredible. So the guy comes back, like you said, 298 days, right? He was very slow at first. I watched the game too. 0 for 6. Then all of a sudden there's a tip back. He slams it down with a dunk, and from there he takes off.
Yeah, I think even before he hit his first shot, I'm pretty sure he had 5 assists and 5 rebounds and 6 missed shots. And I feel like that gets at the heart of the type of basketball player that Jason Tatum is. I think regardless of whether he's scoring, he is a guy that throughout his career has just contributed to winning. And so it was just amazing to see him back, especially so soon.
Yeah, and he ends up finishing with 15 points, 12 rebounds, double-double in his first game back since that Achilles tear. And, you know, the crowd helped him out too.
Yes.
After he had that slam, you felt the energy just lifted
and
in
on that
Garden.
three, that was a serious crowd pop. They got loud.
Unbelievable. Great stuff. So thank you for sharing that story with me. I'd like to share something with you.
Please.
You know, we've been talking a lot as we debuted this show about getting people into the chat. Now, if you are watching live on YouTube, get in the chat, ask us questions, anything you want. But we love hearing from you no matter what. And we got ourselves, talk about old school, a handwritten note. This is so lovely.
Some
and
snail mail.
If you're watching, if you're listening, Vanessa from Unity, New Hampshire, thank you so much for getting in touch with the Sports Report. Little context here. Vanessa heard our show or watched our show last week, where we talked a little bit about my feelings of outpouring of sympathy for Canadians, Canadian hockey fans, especially after that devastating loss in the gold medal final in overtime, Canada versus the U.S. I was just trying to let Canadians know, hey, look, this is still your game, man. No matter what happened, it was rough. And Vanessa saw that, and so she wrote in with her own experience. And let me just change glasses for half a sec here so I can read this to you. She said, I spent the winter in Peterborough, Ontario in the early 1990s. She was there. She said, I was so impressed by all the skating rinks. It seemed like there was one in every neighborhood. Young fathers were teaching their daughters to skate as toddlers. In the spring, kids started playing street hockey. I've never seen that kind of dedication in this country, meaning the U.S. Thanks for all you do it for Vermont Public. And I think she got the message of that, which is how important the game is to Canadians. She saw it live.
Yeah, I was in Montreal just a few weeks back with friends, and it's different. And I think in Ontario and in Toronto, it's even more the case. But you're just going through the neighborhoods, and there's like a skating rink set up and kids playing hockey. It's almost like when you're traveling through so many American cities and there's basketball courts all over the place, and just the way that that is how that game was naturally grown in this country to being the giant sport that it is. And you can just see the ramifications of what happens when you build sporting infrastructure. And so it's just awesome. And I loved hearing about that. And I love that we got that note.
Yeah, so thanks again to Vanessa for that. And wait till you see what happens when the Montreal Canadiens, if they make the playoffs, they are going to. That's just going to explode in the province there. So again, we want to hear from those of you watching live on YouTube. If you've got questions or comments during the show, do let us know in the chat. We'd love to include you. For those of you listening via radio or podcast, we encourage you to check out our live stream each Monday at 2 p.m. on the Sports Rapport YouTube channel. Today on the program, an interview with three-time Paralympian Spencer Wood from Pittsfield, Vermont, and we'll be joined in studio by Burlington Free Press sports reporters Alex Abrami and Judith Altneu. So if you want to hear more about what's happening in Vermont sports, you are in the right place. And it's time for the High Five. It's the segment where we count down 5 of the biggest stories from the last week in Vermont sports. At number 5, the Vermont Coyotes fell to the Saratoga Racers 148-114 in round 1 of the American Basketball Association's East Region Blue Division playoffs. The Coyotes finished up their first season with a trip to the playoffs and an even record of 12 wins and 12 losses.
Coming in at number 4, the University of Vermont's men's and women's basketball teams are still working their way through the America East Championship tournaments. The women beat Albany 55-44 to earn their 5th consecutive tournament semifinal appearance, and they'll play the University of Maryland, Baltimore County this evening. On the men's side, the Catamounts beat Bryant 77-55 to secure their 17th straight semifinal berth, and they will play the New Jersey Institute of Technology tomorrow.
Up at number 3, the St. Michael's men's basketball team earned an at-large bid to the Division II NCAA tournament on Selection Sunday. The 18-13 Purple Knights will face Bentley in the quarterfinal round this Saturday, marking the second invitation for the men's team to the big dance in the past 3 years. Meanwhile, the St. Mike's women have made history, selected for their first basketball NCAA D2 tournament appearance after finishing a 15-13 season. They will go into the quarterfinal as the number 8 seed, tipping off against top-seeded Southern Connecticut State on Friday.
Coming in at number 2, Spencer Wood, Vermont's lone Paralympic athlete, finished 14th in the para-alpine skiing men's downhill and 18th in the para-alpine skiing men's Super G at the Milan Cortina Games. Wood recently told the Sports Rapport he's planning to compete in 5 events at the Games, so he is far from finished. And if you stay with us, we've got a full interview with Spencer coming up in just a couple minutes.
And at number 1 this week, we have 4 new Vermont State High School basketball champions who were crowned over the weekend. Mount Mansfield's Allie Dorman hit a game-winning shot to beat West Rutland 62-60 for the D1 title. We've got video of that. You're going to want to stay tuned. It's amazing. Hartford beat Lamoille Union 37-20 in a defensive battle for the Division II championship. Hazen Union beat Windsor 55-53 in overtime for the D3 title. And Richford beat West Rutland 43-23 for the Division IV championship. Congratulations to all of our newest state champions. And we'll be right back with an interview with 3-time Paralympic alpine skier Spencer Wood of Pittsfield, Vermont. Welcome back to the Sports Rapport. I'm Mitch Wertlieb. Spencer Wood is a para-alpine skier in the middle of competing in his third Paralympic Games. He's the only Vermont athlete at this year's competition. Not long after arriving in Italy, Spencer was gracious enough to sit down for an interview with our producer, Nathaniel Wilson. And just this note, Spencer was unable to be on camera during the interview due to video restrictions in the Paralympic Village.
Spencer Wood is with us. Thank you so much for joining us on the Sports Rapport. Spencer is a three-time Paralympic alpine skier getting ready to compete in his third Paralympic Games coming up here this month in Milano Cortina. Spencer, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me today.
What events are you most looking forward to competing in and racing in at these Paralympic Games?
Yeah. So in the first games, I did GS and slalom. And then in the last games, I did all of the events except for GS. And in this games, I'm doing all of the events, all five. And I am bringing the approach that I'm excited for every single day. Don't know exactly where I'm going to turn out in each one, but if I bring my A game, it should all turn out in my favor, right?
Let's hope so. And what is it like at the Paralympic Games to be surrounded by such elite competition?
Yeah, it just pushes you to be the best and hold yourself to a higher standard, exactly like they are, and hoping for great results for all countries and all competing athletes.
And I read and heard about you, Spencer, that you started racing at the age of 5, and that was years before you even knew that yourself you were disabled. I'm wondering if you can kind of explain a little about your background and how you got into ski racing in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born with a disability. I had a stroke in utero, and I am moderately affected. I didn't really know much about my disability until I was 10 years old, but I started racing at 5 and grew up skiing, and my parents were ski instructors, my grandparents were ski instructors, and I went to a ski academy in Killington, and I always just raced able-bodied until I was a junior in high school at the Killington Mountain School, and one of my parents was like, you know what, you should give para a try. You have the ability to register. You should give it a try, and I did, and it completely changed my life for the better, and I have really improved my my thinking towards the sport and my general outcome in life.
Before you completely made the switch over to just doing competitive alpine skiing, you had played several sports as a child. Am I right, including baseball and lacrosse?
Yeah. Lacrosse is my true love. It is such a fantastic sport to watch and to play. Yeah, it's a good time. I grew up playing soccer as well and swim team. Those two I really struggled with because I have my right ankle is very stiff. It's considered what they say a drop foot. So I don't get a lot of movement. So when I was running or trying to kick a soccer ball, I just didn't have that motor control I was looking for. Same thing with kicking in a swimming pool, kind of stunk. But lacrosse, because there's so much hand-eye coordination, I really found my calling in that. It was a lot of fun.
And how do you think playing in all those different sports as a child prepared you for competitive ski racing? Do you think that it gave you an advantage in any aspect?
Well, it certainly didn't give me a disadvantage. The coolest thing about those is the team aspect. We get some team aspect off the hill in our sport, but I mean, from the second you're in the start gate to the finish line, that's all you. And so being able to pull in all that other how to be a good team player certainly makes a huge difference. So then you're in the right mindset when you go into the start gate.
I'm wondering if we can kind of shift and talk about Vermont a little bit here. What is the
Absolutely.
support like for you back home in Pittsfield?
I grew up there. I inherited that home with my sister 3 years ago from our late mother, and my dad lives over in Woodstock. I love where I live. I love Pittsfield. Shout out to Pit Stop, Joyce and Roger Stevens. Thank you guys for all the sandwiches and feeding me all those years. You guys are awesome. We have such a wonderful community there of people who care about one another. All my neighbors have been there my whole life and are willing to help at the drop of a hat. My fiance lives there with me. We have 2 dogs and 3 cats, and it's just good old-fashioned Vermont living. Drive a John Deere, move snow, and it's a good time. I really enjoy doing all the Vermont living versus when I lived out in Colorado. There's just a lot more people, and it's just things are different. People aren't as nice, and people in Vermont genuinely care about our neighbors. We're lucky in that aspect.
Spencer, were you able to keep up with all the successes that Vermont skiers had in last month's Olympic Games?
It's hard not to. Vermont really put some runs down there. It was pretty incredible to watch. I think seeing Ben Ogden keep up with Norway there was just absolutely astounding. He is a real powerhouse, and I can't believe that him being the most decorated cross country skier in U.S. history for men is. I mean, you can't ask for anything better being a Vermonter. Like, we're not necessarily known as a Nordic ski capital. I mean, yeah, I guess you have Craftsbury, like that's certainly a capital. But when people think of Vermont, it's more alpine skiing, and to see him really pull that out was awesome. And naturally, RCS, Ryan Cochran Siegel, like what a legacy he gets to carry on. And let's just hope when he does have kids, they're walking in his and his grandparents' footsteps.
Yeah, let's hope so. I'm wondering if watching all of that success that the other Vermont skiers had added any fuel to your fire as you were doing the last preparations before the Paralympic Games this month.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely feels like the torch has been passed, and yeah, being the only Paralympian from the state of Vermont, I feel really grateful. And sometimes I feel the pressure. Other times I'm like, what's the pressure? It's all internal. And what really was helpful is I've raced at this venue at Cortina before, the Tofano ski area, and it's where the women raced for the Olympics. And to be able to watch that downhill and look at the track so many times was really helpful to allow me to be most prepared going into this games.
Spencer, is there anything that you want Vermonters to know about you or about the Paralympic Games, maybe people who have not watched before and are looking to tune in the first time after seeing so much of the success that Vermont skiers had at the Olympics last month and hoping to bring that into the Paralympic Games?
Paralympic alpine skiing is a fantastic sport. If you've been a lifelong skier and you really want to see what a ski can do, you really ought to watch men's mono downhill. They are on one ski and they're putting twice the amount of force into one ski, and it is you have no idea what a ski can do until you see them do it, and they make it look so good, and it's just fantastic to watch from a viewing standpoint. Yeah, got a lot of good teammates over here, and we're pretty stacked and excited to see what the competition lines up.
And then last one here for you, Spencer. I saw you made an appearance on the Community Heroes podcast a couple years ago, and I got to watch it recently. And you were saying that becoming a 2-time Paralympian made you just want to become a 3-time Paralympian because of how much you liked the ring of 3-time more. And so with just a couple days before you make your 3rd appearance at the Paralympics, I'm wondering how you're feeling about that and whether this is making you want to just continue to chase that into the future.
Yeah, 3 does sound awesome. 3 sounds really complete. I will be retiring at the end of this season, at the end of this games. I feel like I've had a super successful come up in the last couple years, and things have been working out for me, and I feel like I can leave my stamp on it in just the right way. Yeah, it feels good to end on a high note. So I'm excited to lay it all out there and drain the tanks.
Well, Spencer Wood, 3-time Paralympic alpine skier, getting ready to compete in his 3rd games here in Milano Cortina. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us on the Sports Report here. We can't wait to watch you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to the Sports Rapport. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, and great to hear there from our Paralympic contender there. And joining us in the studio now, we have some special guests with us, Alex Abrami and Judith Altneu from the Burlington Free Press. Thank you so much both for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, excited to be here.
You know, it's a really fun time. And Judith, just to let people know a little background, you were with us for one of our pilot episodes before we kind of went live to the world. It was really great to have you help us get the show started. Remind folks, you're fairly new to Vermont. How long have you been here now?
I started this job in August 2024, so I guess it's been about a year and a half, basically almost 5 sports seasons. So, yeah.
Settled in now?
I think so. Definitely have adjusted, so a little bit. At times, maybe I didn't think it was as cold, though it was like the coldest winter in a while. But times I was like, okay, maybe it isn't as bad since I've already had a little bit of time to adjust. Or it's like, oh, it's actually warm, and I didn't know. Never thought 40 degrees to be that warm before. But
it's amazing when you get through a winter like the one we just had. 40 feels like 80. So yes, you've gone through a tough one.
So maybe I'm adjusting more than I think.
Yeah, it's going to be smooth sailing for you the rest of the way. Alex Abrami, of course, you've been covering sports here for a while now in Vermont. You're a veteran sports reporter on the scene. At least do you feel that way?
I guess so now. Yeah, I'm 44, but yeah, I've been covering sports at the Burlington Free Press since 2007. I started as a copy editor and started writing soon after, a year or two after that. And yeah, it's the great joy of my life. I get to cover high school sports, UVM sports, you name it, from September through August, really. It's year-round, so it's a lot of fun.
You probably picked up pretty quick in your tenure in 2007 that folks around here are passionate about their sports.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I moved here when I was like 11 or 12 in the early 90s. So I got to, I played sports in high school, so I got to know the scene pretty well growing up, and I just stayed here, and it's been a blast.
Fantastic. And folks, if you're watching live via YouTube, we've got questions in the chat. Put them in there for Alex or Judith. We would be happy to help you answer those questions. So go ahead and put those questions in the chat, and we'll get to them a little bit later on. I want to start off with something that we teased at the top of the show here, and so glad I have a seasoned reporter on hand because Judith corrected me. We teased the fact that in the D1 girls basketball final, it was MMU beating Rutland, not West Rutland, as I had missaid. We've got some video of that we're going to show in just a moment here. Both of you were at that game, so you've already both seen what we're about to show live. This is the next best thing, though. That must have been an incredible moment. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but first of all, let's just set this up. Division I championship game. MMU, the Cougars, are going up against Rutland, and it's 60-60. There's about 8 seconds left here in the game.
Probably.
And MMU is inbounding the ball. We've got some video courtesy of the NFHS network, and let's check it out.
Out there, Kakachi's into the ball game as well. Page will switch. They can't get it in. They lob it in. It's tipped away, and it's Mount Mansfield ball. Long gets it over to Campbell with 8. Campbell will drive, leaves it for Dorman. Dorman, pull-up jumper. Got it! Oh! 2 seconds, 1 second. Mount Mansfield wins it. Wow! Oh my goodness! Unbelievable!
What a finish for the Cougars!
What a finish for the Cougars, indeed. I mean, you just can't get any better than that. Thanks again to the NFHS network for giving us that incredible video. You guys, again, you were both there in the gym, at Patrick Gym, by the way. What a thrill for the girls in high school to be playing in front of such a huge crowd. Was it sold out from what you could tell?
Not quite, because it fits about 3,000, but it was loud. It was really loud on both sides. Rutland fans, Mount Mansfield fans. It felt just as loud as an America East championship game, to be honest with you. It was great. And to add on your point about the buzzer beater, Mount Mansfield came back from a 22-point deficit in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was with 46 seconds left in the
late in the third quarter.
Quarter. Yeah. They were trailing like 52-3 34, something like that. It was
Unbelievable.
or
It's probably the biggest comeback in girls basketball history. We didn't have time to really dig into that stat, but to come back down 22 points in the last minute of the third, and you only play 8-minute quarters.
yeah, that's what
The possessions are few and far between, and they were able to turn over Rutland, and then we saw the game-winning shot by Allie Dorman, who ended up with 34 points, which is the second most in the Division I final played at UVM.
Now, I'm so glad you're both here because of this, because I need some context here. Is Allie Dorman kind of the star of the MMU team? Does she do this routinely?
I haven't seen her go off for 34 points. Definitely she and Mesa Long, another junior that I know what the pilot we talked about
Yeah, I
story I
remember you
wrote about
mentioning her.
Mesa. So Mesa and Allie were definitely MMU's two big stars. I guess they were kind of like Burlington last year with Nyla Mitchell and Bree McDonald. I kind of put that as the same thing of two really good players. So definitely that. I think Allie said when I was talking to her a little bit after past the TV Scrum interview, I had a couple more questions for her. I think she might have said 34 might have been a career high for her in a high school game or something. So I haven't seen her go off. She probably maybe she more averages closer to 20. So definitely big time game in a big time stage moment. So
I mean, she pulled up for that jumper and nailed it like Michael Jordan against Utah in one of the finals. She looked so smooth with that.
She does that all the time. That's her game. That pull-up jumper, that mid-range pull-up jumper. It's like you said, I've covered sports since 2007, and I don't remember a better game, better comeback, or better performance by one player in a basketball final, or maybe any sport. It's just incredible what Allie did and her teammates to come back from that deficit, and just the clutchness there to hit that shot and not take a timeout. So we talked to Mark Pfaft after the game, the Mount Mansfield coach, and he's like, "I'd rather no timeout here. I'll let Allie Dorman and Mesa Long just run the floor and see what happens. Don't let Rutland set their defense." And
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I was wondering if they were out of timeouts. It seemed like
I think they had one to kill.
one, yeah.
But
They said, "Run it."
Good strategy there, not to call a timeout.
It worked out pretty well.
And then I guess the other thing was, I guess it got lost in it, was Brynlee Gandon from Rutland had this huge game. She had a half court shot to, or half court, heaved at the halftime buzzer.
Buzzer beater, yeah.
She had 6 threes from all from college range. She had 28 points. It was definitely probably the most, for a girls basketball game, back-to-back star performance, games I guess I've seen probably since college, and of something like that. But
Absolute
It was
thriller.
special. Yeah, it was special. Not to mention in the semis, Rutland won on a buzzer beater just to make the final.
yeah,
So it was a good Final Four.
I mean, the storylines, that's what I love about all this. Now, just a little more perspective before we move on to some other games. Was this an upset at all, or were these two teams pretty evenly matched? Was one team expected going in to beat the other?
I think they were close. Rutland and Mount Mansfield had been the top two girls basketball teams all year. I guess Mount Mansfield did beat Rutland at home in January. I guess it was supposed to be the championship game from the Cougars Holiday Classic. So the game was supposed to be played in December, but it got snowed out to January. And Rutland didn't look themselves. Obviously, Rutland was playing a back-to-back. It was their 4th game in 6 days. So fatigue, other things could have been an issue for why the regular season matchup was so lopsided. So definitely, I think the championship game was probably more of what probably should have been expected or something. So I don't know if it was quite an upset exactly. I think we were talking to the Herald reporter Adam after the game, and was that this could be we could see this matchup again next championships, especially that Allie Dorman and Mesa Long are both juniors. The Mount Mansfield only had 2 seniors, and one of the seniors didn't even play in the game. So in Rutland, I mean, maybe they had some, but their best players were also not seniors. So we could see this matchup again next playoffs or championship game for
Yeah,
sure.
I kind of hope so. What a thrill show they put on. Both teams. Congratulations to both. I know it's heartbreaking for Rutland, but my gosh, what a fantastic
And it was also
game.
Mount Mansfield's first title.
Or the girls
first ever?
basketball.
First ever.
For girls basketball,
Oh, my
yeah.
gosh, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
So many storylines.
I mean, yes, that's the thing about this. There are
Yeah.
always these amazing storylines. I want to move on to some boys' results in boys' high school basketball. Alex, I guess Rice and Rutland in D1 played a pretty good game. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean Rice is the top seed. Mount Mansfield or Rutland was the 4 seed. They've met in the playoffs a bunch of times in the last 20 years. It's like 13 or 14 times. Rice always seems to win, and last night was the same situation. Rice got out to a big lead at the end of the second quarter. They had a 17-0 run from mid-second into the third, and at that point it was pretty much over. It got to 25 points, I think, or 27 at some point. Rice has a super talented team. They have the best player in the state, Pascal Munzero. Landon Merchant had 19 rebounds last night, which is the most like in 27 years at the D1 final. Pascal's 32 points were the most in 27 years, 28 years. So they were the heavy favorites going in. They're the heavy favorites to win on Thursday because of all the other upsets that have happened earlier in the playoffs.
Now, is it true that this is going to, because I know enough to know that Rice is pretty much a basketball powerhouse in boys high school basketball. Is this going to be the 7th year in a row they're playing for the championship?
Seventh year in a row and the 16th time in the last 20 years.
I mean, that's incredible.
They're a powerhouse with Paul Pecor as the coach. And
I was going to
get the best players.
What's driving this? What's the culture?
Sure. Like Paul's been there 20 plus years. They've always had a great history, but especially the last 2 decades, they've won so many titles. And the best players in the state want to go to Rice, the private school, and they usually get the best players in the state.
Now, there was a bit of an upset before the game that was played with Burton Academy and BFA, I guess, right? They were the 6 and 7 seed going up in the semis. What happened prior to that? Set us up for that game, if you will.
So Burton is the 7 seed, and they played at number 2 South Burlington in the quarterfinals. Now, I picked South Burlington to win the whole thing.
Go
so
Wolves.
I don't know if you want to ask me any more questions.
No, I do.
So I picked South Burlington to win it all. They lose in the quarters, and Burton pulls off the upset. They got down 21-4 in the second quarter.
Wow.
And they came back and won 51-48. And then BFA beat defending champion Burlington on the same night in the quarters. That game was played at Colchester High School because Burlington doesn't have a high school right now.
Right.
It's being built. And they play all their games at UVM. But at that same night, UVM women were hosting their quarterfinal game. So they had to play somewhere else. So they went to Colchester, which probably affected the game a little bit because smaller court, Burlington really likes to run up-tempo team, and BFA likes to slow it down. They have a 6'10 senior forward or center, Ryan Munger, and he had a field day. And he also had a field day in the semis as well.
But aren't all basketball courts the same size?
Not necessarily.
No, not UVM's court is bigger.
Yeah, as we get to the college level there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But taking away nothing from BFA, though, I mean, that's a pretty big upset.
It is. They split with
champs.
Burlington during the year.
Yeah.
But I thought Burlington was coming on, and they have a great backcourt, a number of great seniors and juniors on that team. Their championship team, they won last year, got to the final the year before that when they're mostly freshmen. So it is an upset. But BFA played really well. And they played really well last night as well, even though it was a very low-scoring semifinal.
So kind of a sloppy game, maybe?
I wouldn't say it was sloppy because there weren't a ton of turnovers. Just weren't a lot of shot making. Just really good defense.
There were some bad shots, but
certainly some misses. But they were in the flow of the offense. They were just offline type of thing.
So what is this setting up now for the state championship finals in boys basketball? What are you looking for?
So Rice is going. I mean, they lost last year in the final to their rival Burlington. BFA hasn't been to a final since 1987 when Matt Johnson led the team to a title. Matt Johnson played at UVM. He was America's Player of the Year back then in the 90s and led Burlington for a number of years to multiple state titles before he left the state about 10 years ago. One of the best players to ever come out of Vermont. So BFA hasn't been there since then. So that's almost 40 years ago.
They're going to be serious underdogs against Rice.
They are. They lost to him twice during the year. One game was by 5, and then the other game was by 25 or something like that. So
Okay,
Rice
that's
is
not
the
bad, though, the 5.
Yeah. So if it's like that, then it could be a good game. But Rice is really coming on, and with Pascal, with Landon Merchant, with Moses Pial, it's a really 3-headed monster that's coming together and playing at a high level at this point. It'd be hard to slow them down.
I mean, the one thing they might have on their side is Ryan Munger being 6'10". He still might have been the tallest player on the court against Rice.
He will be, yes.
Okay.
But Landon Merchant's also 6'7", so that's actually a really good matchup to see who's going to win on the glass and be the tougher opponent.
Yeah, it's a couple big bodies out there.
It is.
Sure.
Yeah, that's big for Vermont high school basketball.
We are speaking with Alex Abrami and Judith Altneu, and if you have any questions for these Burlington Free Press sports reporters, get them in the chat now if you're watching live on YouTube, and they would be happy to answer those questions for you. Moving on, Judith, to high school hockey. What are we looking here in the girls section? Some games coming up. What's big on tap?
Yeah, it's the semifinals this week. We have one game tomorrow, Tuesday, and the other game Wednesday. Obviously, it's basically pretty much all local schools left in Division One. It's BFA's St. Albans is the 1 seed, and then we have Essex, Burlington Colchester, and Chittenden Charge, the CVU, Mount Mansfield, South Burlington contingent, as the other teams remaining. It does seem like it's apparently BFA's championship to lose. They've lost like one game all year, and they haven't dropped any games, or they had one tie, but other than that, to an in-state team. But that's been their only like loss to anybody in Vermont was one tie. So I do think they're probably still the favored. I haven't seen BFA in like a few weeks or a couple months, to be honest. So I'm excited to be at that game on Wednesday when they're hosting the Chittenden Charge and just kind of get a tune-up with them before the championship game on Sunday. So
that'll be awesome. And I do want to backtrack a little bit because I jumped the gun there, Judith, a little. We talked about the girls' state high school championships in D1, but there's still the other divisions to cover. What are you looking for there?
Oh, those already happened. Those happened Saturday. So I was at the Division 2 and Division 3 games Saturday. So.
And how did those outcomes come out?
I mean, the Division 2 game was maybe a little bit of a letdown, thinking, there were a lot of storylines. Just the game itself was a little bit ugly. You had Lamoille as the 1 seed, who was looking for a perfect season. And then you had Hartford, the number 2 team with one of the best players in the state with Charlotte Jasmine. And both teams had like 14, 15-year title droughts they were looking to end. So, okay. Both of them hadn't been to the championship game in a number of years, I think since they each had won their last title, like in the early 2010s. But just the game itself, Hartford's zone defense really took Lamoille out of the rhythm. So, so that game it really wasn't the most exciting game in the world, being like 37-20. It wasn't the best game, you've ever seen, but like Hartford did enough to win. They made the shots like they needed to, and, Lamoille couldn't do anything. So, the Division 3 game was a little bit more exciting since that one also went to overtime between Hazen and Windsor, who this was like their third year in a row they had met each other at Barry, with Hazen coming away with it in overtime. So
I'm thinking of some of those low scores you just mentioned, Judith, and I know there's been some talk about the shot clock in girls playoff basketball, which is not, and in boys basketball as well. Is this something that they're thinking of adding at any point? Is that a decision the VPA would have to make?
I think it would be the VPA. I mean, maybe that's sometimes a conversation with media members. I haven't asked the VPA if they would do it. I mean, the one thing is I get when maybe talking to Alex about it or somebody else before, and they were like, well, the small schools can't afford to, add a shot clock, and that's why it doesn't have it. Or whatever, or just whatever the price is or something. I was like, the one to compromise I think maybe could be unrealistic is like put a shot clock for like the semifinal, the neutral site games, just so it doesn't affect a championship, semifinals as much. But I don't know if that would be real, because I don't know how hard it is for kids to turn on their brain differently, to be playing with a shot clock versus not.
Well, it's a huge switch. Alex, have you been hearing any talk about this?
It's always been a conversation among media members and coaches over the years. I don't know if the VPA is actually looking at it in terms of like at that committee level and talking about how to do it. Because like Judith mentioned, like all the schools would have to buy 2 shot clocks because you need one on both baselines.
Either end, sure.
And you need someone to run it. And I think they're costly. I mean, the last time I checked, maybe they're $10,000 each or something like that, in that range.
Do you think it would help though with the?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Like, would it help teams score more? Certainly, there'd be more possessions because you would have a either 25 or 30-second shot clock, and you can't stall anymore. Like we've seen that over the years where teams just stall because there's no shot clock. So in theory, yes, you could see more scoring, but you saw the game that we talked about, Mount Mansfield over Rutland,
Right.
that was 62-60. That's plenty of points.
For sure.
And that was really exciting, and that was no shot clock. So,
But how do you come back? I mean,
it does help, I think, stop comebacks. So
That's what I'm wondering about. Yeah, the comeback.
without a shot clock,
yeah.
it would, yes, correct.
obviously
But
comebacks seem to be more rare, at least from some other games when teams were down 8. So I guess it's also more impressive that Mount Mansfield won with the turnovers. Also, Rutland didn't score a field goal. Like all their points in the fourth quarter came on free throws. So, but that's maybe another point too. But
I would just love to, I think it would add another element, but I hadn't thought about the cost, about the, the people
I think
you
it's
need
the
to
cost.
staff it.
Yeah.
And so
I think
there's
I
some
would
issues there.
I would be for it if it wasn't so expensive for schools. Every school in the state plays basketball.
Yep.
So that's 70 schools, 60 something, maybe around 60 schools. So that's a lot for every school, because you can't just do it for D1 or D2. You have to do it for everybody across the board, and you have to do it from game 1 to the end of the season.
Something we'll have to watch. Alex, tell us about boys high school state championships for hockey that are still to be decided. Right?
Yep. Yeah. So we have semifinals this week. I think most of are on Wednesday, maybe a couple on Tuesday. In Division I, Rice is the 2-time defending champ, and they're hosting South Burlington, the 4 seed. These two teams met in the last 2 championship games, so they know each other
did.
well.
This I'm aware of. Go Wolves. Sorry, Rice folks. I'm from South Burlington. Go ahead.
Rice is not as formidable as the last 2 years, even though they're the top seed. They have 4 losses. They went undefeated last year in a perfect season. They were really good last year. And they're still the deepest team, most talented team. They roll up to 4 lines every game.
Wow.
Most teams can't do that. And they're playing really well, but so is South Burlington. I actually picked South Burlington to beat Rice in this matchup in our primer and predictions before the playoffs.
You got to make up for the basketball.
I have to make up.
Right,
I do have to make up for it. And in the other matchup, it's BFA against Burn-Burton. So another BFA Burn-Burton.
Oh, wow.
Another 6-7 matchup. Same school, same
nice.
seeds. And that kind of tells the story of this season in hockey. It's just been kind of wide open, 1 through 6, 1 through 7. Anyone can beat anyone. And we saw that, Burn-Burton drove 2.5 hours up from Manchester and beat Essex on Saturday as the 2 seed,
Wow.
3-1. So, and then BFA beat CVU, the 3 seed. And I'll make mention here, I also picked CVU to win the whole thing. So I'm really, my bracket's been busted in hockey and basketball this winter.
I like you
I
being
guess
honest about
mine's
it, though.
doing well. I guess I'm rolling with the 1 seeds, or maybe the other teams seem to be more dominant and not as wide open this year. I don't
Who are
know.
your predictions then, Judith? Who you got?
I believe I picked Mount Mansfield in the girls basketball for that. For hockey, I picked. I think I picked BFA. I know my Division II bracket. I know I picked, a couple more upsets there. I think because Missisquoi had done pretty well. They lost in the quarterfinals. I think I picked them to make at least the semifinals. So that one was wrong. I just decided the Division II should be a little bit more, a little bit more upset heavy than Division I. I don't exactly remember who I picked to win it all. I think it was between Hartford and U32 and Division II for girls, since those were the 2 clear teams, best teams all year in Division II. I just don't remember off the top of my head who I actually picked to win it all.
Well, make sure that you update us on all your picks, because I want to see how you come out in the end on this one.
Okay.
You too, Alex, on that. What about the attendance at some of the hockey games I'm doing for both boys and girls? Has it been pretty good? Are people, I know there's always the passionate hockey fan base, but has it picked up at all in recent years?
Yeah, I would say so. I think students love to go. They love to go to hockey games because you can. You're not supposed to bang on the glass, but
hey, come on.
They're right up there, and they love to cheer on their teams, and especially when if they score, they go right up to the glass. It's fun. I think hockey has great celebrations, and the students get into it. It's a lot of fun. I think the turnout for students and for fans in general is pretty good for hockey. We're a soccer state, as we like to say lately, with the Vermont
Especially
soccer
lately,
team and
yes.
Vermont Green, but we're also a hockey state. You could tell over the years it's pretty special, especially in Chittenden County.
I think personally, because that's my favorite sport, there is nothing like playoff hockey, especially if you get to overtime. I don't know if any of these games are going to get there, but if you go sudden death, and I guess in high school they do play until there's a winner, right? Like you don't go to a shootout or anything like that?
Correct, yeah. You did, yeah.
I mean, it's so thrilling. Every second counts. Every inch of ice is just fought over. It's amazing. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Speaking of that, I mean, both of you, you're really into like the home stretch now of the busiest part of your seasons, I would imagine. I mean, what is your schedule looking like over these, let's say, next couple of weeks? Judith, let me start with you.
Crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Allison was reminding me some other things that might be on my radar I hadn't even thought of.
Just sitting here. Okay, great.
A few things that I was like, oh, didn't think of that. I had to like somehow try to figure out how to work in. So try to, I guess, like, yeah, try to make it through. So.
You're going to be pretty busy too, Alex?
Yeah, this next week is pretty busy with high school sports and UVM. Judith will be at Patrick Gym tonight for UVM women versus UMBC in the semifinals. I'll be back there tomorrow for the men as I host NJIT. And then we have hockey semis. The D1 boys basketball final is Thursday. And then potentially America East Championship game on Friday if UVM women win tonight.
Yeah.
And UVM men would have to have UMBC lose their semi to host the America East final here on
hockey
Saturday.
Championship Sunday, and maybe one of us is going to Barrie on Saturday for some of the boys basketball, but obviously
it's a good busy though. Like this is the fun time. This is why
This is why you get into it.
This is why we do the job.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It's
to
also
cover these
though why I
games.
wanted to point out to folks about how hard you both work, because Alex, I've been following your reporting for years, and when I did the old sports report on Vermont Public Radio, I depended on you to let me know what was going on when we got into these moments of high school championship sports. I can't say how much I appreciate your hard work, and Judith, you've been doing a fabulous job as well, keeping us all informed about this. So keep it going. Hope you get a little bit of rest after all the big games are over. And can you stick around for our final segment? We're going to talk a little more pro sports in a bit. Fantastic. We'll be right back on the Sports Rapport. Welcome back to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb on the set here with our Burlington Free Press sports reporters, Alex Abrami and Judith Altneu. It's great to have both of you with us. Just a few minutes left here. One of the things I wanted to mention is that the World Baseball Classic is underway at venues really all around the world. There's a bunch of different places. I'm of a different opinion on this. You know, I've gotten more into it as it's gone on. It's weird that it's happening, though, when spring training is also going on. You've got some of the world's greatest players playing in this. Shohei Ohtani, for example, is playing for Japan. He hit a grand slam in one of their opening pool games the other day. But other players are not playing, like Mike Trout is not playing for the U.S. team. Francisco Lindor not playing for Puerto Rico. This has to do with insurance reasons and players not wanting to get hurt. So it's a weird kind of tournament. We'll get more into it as we get towards the final, which will be on March 17th. And then, of course, it's time for play ball. Real briefly, Alex, who are you looking for? How do you think the Boston Red Sox, is what I wanted to ask, are going to do this season?
I hope they finish dead last.
Oh, no.
I'm a Yankees fan.
I let you in
I'm
here?
from New York. Yeah.
I don't believe. Can we cut this show short at this point? What? Really?
Yeah, I'm a
Okay,
Yankees fan.
fine.
I'm a New York fan all the way through.
Judith, turning to you.
Yeah.
A Baltimore Orioles fan, perhaps?
More or less the Nationals, but fair
Okay.
weather fan it was fun watching them win the World Series. That was my senior year of high school.
I remember when the Nats won, yeah.
that was fun. And then I got to go to the World Series parade. I mean, it happened to be a Saturday, so my parents would have let me go anywhere. But my dad was going to let me go if it was a school day, just because, as reward for getting in my college applications in.
Oh, that's a good reward.
Yeah,
That's pretty
But
nice.
it was on a Saturday, so we still went. But that was cool. I guess obviously with COVID canceling kind of the rest of my senior year of high school, that's actually one of the highs
I would guess
from
so.
my senior year of high school was seeing the Nationals win the World Series. But obviously with them kind of stinking the last few years, a little bit fair weather fan, and when the Nats kind of traded all my favorite players, and
Well, Judith, we have plenty of room on the Boston Red Sox bandwagon. Anytime you want to climb
Okay.
on, you just let me know.
Okay.
And Alex,
I'm sorry to disappoint.
it's okay. Aaron Judge is playing in the World Baseball Classic this year. He's one of those Yankees who I have to respect, even though I don't want to. I kind of felt the same way about Derek Jeter over the years. But, the American League East, Toronto is going to be a tough team again to beat.
Yeah.
They came within a whisker of winning the World Series last year. So it's not going to be easy for either of our teams this year.
It's not, and the Yankees didn't really add to their team as too much in the offseason. It felt kind of like they ran it back with most of their players, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they did do okay last year at the end of the season, but
They beat the Red Sox.
They did.
But then they were gone. So
They
ha-ha
did.
on that.
but how can you not like Aaron Judge? He's
just a
he's been on a
fabulous
tear
player.
for
I hate
4
to
years
say it.
now.
Yeah, and he seems like a good guy. We don't know, but he does. He's got all the tools, and he's not just a great slugger. He also, people don't realize he plays great defense, and he's fast out there as long as he's healthy, and that's the problem with
As long as he's healthy.
Yeah, he's had a lot of trouble
That's
staying
been the big
healthy at
thing.
times.
Yeah, but he has been the last couple of years for the most part. Outside of, I think he missed like a month of August last year.
There was
or so.
something.
Yeah.
But it's a long season, so we'll have to see how it all plays out, as you know. A couple of minutes left here. I want to let folks know that your reporting, as I was mentioning before, is so comprehensive. What are some things folks who go to the Burlington Free Press website, for example, should look for? Where should they go if they want to find out?
Sure, yeah, BurlingtonFreePress.com. All of our stuff is there, all of our content. It's updated pretty much nightly, especially during playoff time. We're updating the playoff file, I don't know, a dozen times a night, but probably more.
How's that? Jeez.
I mean, it depends on when we get emails from
It certainly
coaches.
depends.
But
And we're at, when we go to some of the championships, we'll do live updates. You can find those on our website. Last night we did a live blog of the Final Four.
I'll have live updates on the UVM women's game tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's all on our website. And then we post a lot on Instagram, Burlington Free Press Sports. We put a lot of videos, player interviews, photos, any highlights we get, we put them on there. And the high school kids seem to like it.
Oh, I would think so. Is there an Instagram presence or anything like that?
Yeah, Burlington Free Press.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's great. Lots of resources and ways that folks can follow. Love the live blog aspect. That is so cool. It kind of makes you feel like, the real-time thing. You're kind of watching it if you can't be at the game. So fantastic. Thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Alex Abrami and Judith Altneu will keep following your reporting in the Burlington Free Press.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
having us,
you.
Mitch.
And that's it for today. Thank you for tuning into the Sports Report. If you missed any of today's show, you can find it on our YouTube channel. You can also catch the show on Vermont Public Radio Monday nights at 8 o'clock. It's also available where you get your podcasts. Find out more about the show and how to get in touch with us at vermontpublic.org/sports. The Sports Report is a production of Vermont Public, produced by Nathaniel Wilson. The technical director is Mike Dunn, with Kyle Ambusk on graphics, David Littlefield on cameras, and video production assistance from Dave Rice, Brian Stevenson, David Littlefield, and Joey Palumbo. Our audio engineer is Peter Engish. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, your host for this program that is all about the world of sports in Vermont and beyond. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week.